Welcome, friends, to the Soul Talk podcast, a show where we explore and uncover the path to the heart, amplifying your conscience. Join me as we meet incredible souls who are in this journey and learn from their experience and different methods that will make you vibrate your heart. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. This is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love, and thank you for being in Soul Talk. Today, we have Adele Bernard that she brings the magic in a different way, and your own magic that is just waiting to come up, like she mentioned it. So let me tell you a little bit about who she is. Adele is a mentor teacher of transition. Adele specializes in aligning the physical house and body to create a vibrant support spaces. Would you like to say with your words exactly what do you do, Adele? Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me on your show, and I'm happy to be here. Um, so basically, it's about walking you home. And what I mean by that, whether it's to your physical home or to your body, it's clearing out the unwanted beliefs, the untruths that you've been told all the way through your life, and even now, like that we even tell ourselves that we can't do things, and it's the conditioning that we don't even realize it has happened until we start looking within, getting out of our heads and dropping into our hearts where the real truth lies. And we start realizing, like, I am powerful. I can shine my light bright. You know, if I say yes to things, who knows what opportunities are going to show up? Hence this podcast. I said yes. Right. And so it's more about um, coming home to your true, authentic self. And I think we're all on this journey in some way after the last 4 years.
I always have seen my home like my castle, like where
Mm-hmm.
I feel safe,
Mm-hmm.
where I can create that I can be fully me. I only
Mm-hmm.
have to please me. So it is the place that it makes me feel comfortable. And I cannot imagine someone living in a place. It doesn't matter it's big or small
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes clutter. This make you feel happy, make you feel complete, whatever. That you're living in a place that you're not feeling yourself.
Well, and it's so true because I can like when I think about my life and I think I couldn't imagine like some of the ways that I knew people lived. But more importantly, most people don't even want to be in their body
That's true.
because of pain, because of trauma, because of they don't feel good, they don't like it, like, right? And I was that person. And so in saying that, I had a lot of incidences, right? Like if I saw a set of stairs, I'd be at the top of the stairs and then at the bottom I missed the risers. And as I worked on myself with this work, I was like, why does that keep happening? Because I wasn't in my body to realize there were stairs, or I was still in the conversation without turning around to realize you're on a landing to go stairs up or down. And when I realized that, I was like, okay, so why do I want to be in my body? Well, my body has pain, or my body's heavier, or like, right? And so it was coming to my own realizations that wherever I am, home is. But if I don't want to be home, whether my physical home or my body, how can I create in the world from a place of beingness if I'm not in that presence?
Like how I have told my students many times, you want to create a change, first of all, you have to come in into your body.
Mhm.
And from your body, you can create a change. You
Mhm.
cannot change the world from outside if you are not changing the world inside.
Mhm.
The self acceptance, self love, and so forth. First, it starts inside, so you know
Mhm.
what you like outside. How do you know? The majority of the people do not even know themselves. So how do you know that you don't like the color green or the color yellow or
Yep.
something? Because you don't know yourself. And how do you're gonna know that?
Yep.
Is precisely you're in your body,
Yep.
right?
Well, and it's even a little game I started with myself when I was basically muscle testing or just testing things in general, right? I'd look at my closet and I go, who do I feel like today? And I'd wait for the answer. I feel blue today. Cool. I feel purple today. Cool. Today I felt yellow. So hence the yellow, right? And and it's interesting because every color is attached to an emotion. Every emotion can bring you up brighter or settle you down more. And they say this in the public speaking world of what you wear to what when you speak to an audience will either bring them in that they hear every word or will reflect that they don't hear anything. You're just a talking head.
That's
And I mean, there's studies on this, right? Like huge studies. And I remember when I first started doing public speaking, I never thought about it. I felt red that day. I put on a red shirt. That's not a good thing. I'm all fire in my astrology chart. You put on a red shirt, I'm screaming at the audience. And I was like, huh, that was a good experiment. I got through it. The audiences didn't, say I was screaming at them, but I was just like, yeah.
something that I have seen that study and I have heard that story from several people, different people.
Hmm.
And one of the things that they tell you when you're going to be public speaking is don't wear black
Yeah.
because there's a trust factor for the people that wear black. And the thing is, everybody wants to wear that black dress in that special moment, or
Well,
that,
because it's the most flattering thing we can wear, but
yes,
it's not the best for the audience,
exactly.
right? And so when you think about working with clients or even working on your own self, right? We want to be kind and loving, and how we started this conversation, supportive of our inner heart, right? And when we're trying to give us that inner love and the dogmas, the conditioning, the beliefs start going, it's not your heart. You're not in your true self
Yeah,
because that's coming from the mind. And if I've ever learned anything in this life that I've chosen to be here, the mind is only our friend in fight or flight.
yeah, that's
It
everything.
is not our friend most of the time. And even I was in a conversation on social media this morning about coaching and wasting money with coaches and why can't coaches step up to what I need? And I'm reading this and I was just like, the whole conversation is in the ego. They're not doing for me what I ask. And so I reframed it and I said, if you aren't in your true self, coming from your heart space, that coach can't help you because you don't want to hear the answer.
That is so true.
Right. And trust me, like I'm the first to say, oh, I'm not listening today. I guess we'll talk another day. And that's even to friends. It's just like, what, what's going on? Like, why am I not hearing? What is, why is this texting back and forth or the phone call just misinterpreted words? And it's like, hmm. And here's another example. I was invited out to a couple different functions this week, and I was I was making a crazy head thing, right? Back and forth. Do I go? Do I not go? I don't know. Like what? And when I finally just sat down and got into my heart, do I want to go? No. End of story. But oh my gosh, did I play ping pong in my head? Yes, no. And it's like, drop into your heart.
Even when we are in our community, that the people that are going to be listening, we believe in channeling, we believe in all those things.
Mm-hmm,
And today I received a question from one of my clients earlier. He told me, okay, how can I know the message it is true? Like when you're in your ego, you're gonna be controlling, manipulating, and trying to instigate fear and all those kind of things. That's what the ego do,
mm-hmm,
and that's the biggest chatter that you're gonna have.
mm-hmm,
When you're listening to your higher self, and okay, do I want this furniture here? Do I want to paint this wall here? Do I want to buy this house? Or how do I feel the energy in this house? You can ask all those questions to your guides. But
mm-hmm,
if you have too much shattering from your ego, you're not going to be listening
mm-hmm.
to the conversations that you can have with your higher self. You're listening
Exactly.
to your ego. So is in your head, you're finding that chattering, that it is bringing you things from the past, mistakes or choices that
Mm-hmm,
you did in the past, that it is telling you, oh, my mother told me to buy this house even if I hate it, but that's why I'm buying it.
mm-hmm.
Then you have to ask yourself precisely who I'm listening in my head, the voice of my mother, my ego, or the true me or my higher self. So
Well, and
choices.
that's it. That's a good point because I've been asked the same question. How do you know it's your true guidance? And I said, because it's soft, it's a whisper,
And it's not trying to control you, manipulate you.
right? There is no,
No,
it will just, it's the most loving. And I feel it more than I actually hear the words sometimes. And it'll be like, is this the right decision at this time for me? And my whole body just relaxes. It's like, well, I can't argue with that. But then you come back to the home, right? Buying a home that isn't right for you usually ends up as a money pit. Everything will go wrong.
mhm,
And so that's why I kind of say, I can't fix the leaky faucet for you, but I can tell you it's going to happen, right? Like when I'm doing energy clearings on homes, it's like the home is a reflection of our body, right? So if you're like giving in your life and you just have nothing left for you, you're going to start having some leaky faucets in your house,
that is so true.
right? If you're looking to rent an apartment or buy a house or whatever and you walk in and you don't listen to that ick feeling, it's not going to be a happy move,
That is so true.
right?
And
And
I
so,
everybody
yeah.
have that are listening to right now, they have those experiences before.
Hmm.
They
There's a reason hindsight's 2020. We finally catch up to the messages that we're being told and are listening.
mm,
Oh, if I'd only known not to buy that car. If I'd only known, like, well, you did know. You just chose not to listen. And that's okay because we're all here to learn,
yeah.
right? Like, and every right or wrong or indifferent decision has laid the path for our journey. It's about learning as you move forward.
And I have a question for you. Do you use Feng Shui also in your techniques, or how do you, when
I
the client just bought the house, they have it all, and here's the furniture and everything. What do you do? Walk me.
so so the work I do with houses is a lot deeper than feng shui. I used to joke, I don't really care where you put your couch. That's up to you. But if if the guidance is this is the layout it needs for the flow to work, I will do that. Like I'll mention it. I'm more about what energy has been stuck in the walls that keeps getting painted over from your family in the house, if you're still staying in the house, or the family that was left the house. Because you're buying a house, they've moved out, but have they really moved out? Their energy's still in the house, right? Or also even the ley lines of the where it was built, who was building it, what energy did the construction workers have that they left there? Like their bad day ended up in your concrete, and you're like, what is going on? Right? So it's a lot deeper and a lot more thorough. Um, in saying that, there is a lot to feng shui that can help a house because, like for sleeping, for instance, right? They always say to have your head at the east of the room. Well, sometimes you can't have it at the east. That's a doorway or that's a closet or whatever. But one can change the orientation of the room that it can get the flow without actually having your head at the east.
Yep.
Right?
That
So
is
so here's a good example. I had a friend who changed her room around, and her husband was a construction worker, and all of a sudden like he was having problems with his hip, and they couldn't figure it out. And she was an energetic worker, and so she's like, I don't know what's going on. And then I happened to be at their house one day and saw the cat sleeping on the bed. And I said, does your cat always sleep there? No, not only since we moved the room. I go, oh, is that where your husband sleeps? Yeah. And I go, you got to change your room back. And she goes, why? I go, a cat will always sleep on the double negative. That was exactly where his hips landed on the bed. They changed the room around. He had no more hip problem.
so the cats will sleep in the double negative. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
It's wherever the most negative spots of a house is. Not always. I mean, they don't only sleep there, but they are the ones that will I don't know why it's cats. Like I never have figured this out, but it's like they are the transmuter of the negative polarity.
But also they take care of you. Like,
Well, yeah, but the cat was sleeping on the bed saying this isn't a good space for your hips, right? So
okay.
they changed the room back and he had no problems again. And the cat didn't sleep on their bed again.
Hmm.
Because she thought it was weird that the cat started sleeping on the bed because the cats never slept on the bed.
Mhm.
And then once they moved their room back to how it was, the cat stopped sleeping in their bed. Like it's fascinating, right? Like the depths and the like you'll think, "Oh, it's no big deal." Like, I stubbed my toe. And it's like, but your toe, your big toe is your identity. If you bring it back to what were you thinking, what were you doing just before you stubbed your toe, there's a whole big thing happening that said, pay attention. We'll stub your toe to make sure you do.
Hmm. It is funny, you just make me think several things.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things when I bought this house, I bought it with my husband, and he's the one that chose the house, not me.
Mm-hmm.
We went to see 50, and I give up at the end. Like, yeah, whatever you choose. We're not combining what we want, both of us. So I give up. And the first thing that happened in this house, I'm always been a channeler. So in the first moment that I put, okay, this is where I'm gonna paint. This is my studio.
Mm-hmm.
Was an old lady behind me. And this house was abandoned for 4 years. After the lady died, precisely, I did not knew that story until I start putting my ISO and my things, and it's like okay, and I start painting, and I look behind me, and she was there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like okay, it's like Now we're in your house. I'm sorry, we just bought it. You died. And so I help her cross over.
Hmm.
But before I cross her over, she tell me, I just want to see you paint. I love to see people painting. And like, okay, I don't mind having someone see me paint, but if someone, my family, my kid, my husband, someone come and see you, they're gonna freak out. So we need to make a negotiation. But of course, this doesn't happen to everybody. I
Hmm.
am comfortable. I don't mind.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, we're gonna do this negotiation for this painting, and then you're leaving. And but if someone comes, you need to leave
Yeah.
because I don't want people to get scared.
Yeah.
And I bet this happens to many people because the energy of other people are gonna be there. It doesn't matter if
That's
they're dead
probably one
or
of the
alive.
that's probably one of the number one reasons why houses don't sell is the energy.
That is true. Yep, this
Whether it's
is
power lines, the ley lines, the construction of how it was put together, um, death is a big one, right? Like they haven't crossed over,
Mhm.
right? And I think that's why you accepted this house
Yeah, because it was
because
available for 4 years. They were trying to sell it for
I
4 years
know, but
until I got it.
she called you in to help her transition.
Yeah, I do that. That's one of the works I do.
Yeah.
In that time, I did not knew that, but I was like, okay, it's
Hmm.
like I'm fine, you're here. But many people, of course, you start seeing phantoms or start sensing things and so forth. They're not gonna be feeling that they're in the castle where they're feeling safe.
Hmm.
They're not gonna feeling safe, and that's when it's important to call people like you
Hmm.
that can go and
Well,
clear
and
you.
it's also, it doesn't need to be someone who's caught in the transition. I mean, a lot of times it is your loved ones just coming to check on you to make sure you're okay. And um like even the other day I don't know what I was doing, but all of a sudden like my grandma was there, right? And I just started laughing. And everyone's like, "What are you laughing at?" I go, "Oh, grandma just said something funny." And they're like, "Oh, whatever." Like,
Yeah,
right? Like even though I've done this work my whole entire life, like right, people still go, "She's in her own world."
but the thing is, everybody's sensitive, even if they don't want to admit it. So when they move to a place, bring it
Mhm.
back to this conversation. When they move to a place,
Mhm.
they're gonna receive that energy. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter if they're alive or they're dead.
Mhm.
'Cause we leave part of ourselves in different places for different reasons.
Well, but that's where like um when I talk about walking you home for my program, it's literally I'm going to walk you home from all the stuff you've been told growing up, good, bad, or indifferent. It's the best that they knew at the time. And you have to figure out, sort through what is yours as truth and what is like, yeah, they tried, whatever. Right. And so, and I truly believe that not all the conditioning is bad or good. Is it a fit for me in this life? Maybe, maybe not. Whatever isn't, let it go and let it go to whoever it needs to go to. Because when I was starting this company, I wanted the picture of this beautiful mountain in the back, like what I have in the Canadian Rockies. I tried to make that thing work and it was like, no. And I'm like, I love this picture, but that's not your background. I'm like, then what's my background? Like I was starting to be smart ass, right? With my guides. And then they're like, find lighthouses. So then I found lighthouses. I tried different lighthouses. Some the water was so choppy, it used to just like I couldn't have the conversation because I was on the choppy water, right? So then I found this one and I was like, I think this is mine. So many people comment how calm they feel with this lighthouse.
Mhm. I like it.
And and the other day in networking, I met a drone, a guy who flies those drones. He says, I've been to the lighthouse. I go, you have? He happened to be there when a wedding was happening. What a beautiful gift he gave those people. No explanation. He figured out who they were, sent them the photography, no questions asked, no money passed.
Uh,
Like, who wouldn't want a drone to photograph their wedding,
yeah.
right? And so it's just like you just don't know when you're not listening, you're hitting that wall, hitting that wall. And then one day you're going, why do I have a bruise on my head? Because you hit the wall too many times. Right? I wanted that picture so bad. And I put it on a different social media platform. All good. I still got it. I just don't have it as this company's backdrop because it wasn't it. Because I'm all about the lighthouse guiding the way home. You can choose to keep hitting the rocks. That's your choice.
Hi everyone, this is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love. And if you have been feeling stuck where you are right now, or if you have felt that you cannot connect with others in the same language or the same emotions that you're feeling, if you're a coach, a healer, energy worker in any of those branches, maybe this is for you. Because we have felt the disconnection for the rest of our family, friends, that we cannot connect to them. And we're so afraid to actually go deep dive when we're getting triggered by our own clients because we're seeing our mirror image with them. My name is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love, and that's my spiritual name. And I take clients from feeling confused and feeling stuck to feeling free, to feeling that they feel empowered from themselves. I created a system, Path to the Heart, that goes in 3 levels. And the first level, it is healing the inner child, healing the parts of us that we've been so afraid or it's very painful to do it. I have done it myself, not only with me, and I have done it with many of my clients that I take them to this process. The second level, it is to go more into inner self, clearing the family lineage, to breaking the contracts and vows, learning deeper more about the laws of the universe. And the third level, it is learning how to channel, how to do waking up your and getting online your gifts, your unique gifts that the world so much needs right now. So, if you wanted to know more about this, I am eager to show you and to teach you all what I know that I use every day in my life. So, thank you for being here in this page. I really appreciate it. And this is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love. That goes for everything in our lives. How many things that we force ourselves to fit into our reality when
Yep.
we don't feel comfortable, when we don't feel that is the best house or the best furniture or the best
Hmm.
husband or life or job or whatever
Hmm.
we choose to. How many times
And it's painful to be put into a box when you're supposed to fly.
like I have the
And you as an artist, I mean, there's no better expression because you start with this canvas. Oh, I'll put a bit of pink and I'll put a bit of blue and I'll put a bit like, and you're just cultivating this beautiful artistry. Do you know what you're going to paint when you start painting?
sometimes, not all the time,
Yeah.
not all the time.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating watching. Like I'll say, okay, give me like snapshots, right? I won't breathe over your shoulder, but it's like snapshots. Here's the canvas. I started here, and it's like, how did you end up there from that? Like, I just think it's fascinating,
Yeah,
right?
sometimes my guides are we sit down in front of the canvas and it's like, okay, what are we gonna create? Like, what do you feel? What is the message that you want to give? and that's how I create a channel painting, because they're guiding me. Sometimes we argue about the color. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, put it blue. No, I want it red. No, then we start arguing about the colors and so forth. But it's a channel painting.
So are you channeling it for a specific client?
Channel for specific clients, and
Okay.
also I create my own channeling for myself, my
Yeah.
own inspiration for me.
Yeah.
But yes,
Interesting. Yeah, because my girlfriend used to airbrush mandalas
I
for
sent
people.
I sent some paintings, two channel paintings of dragons to Canada.
Oh,
I connect with my client, and so I can see their dragon and so forth. And then I paint it and I send it to them.
beautiful. Because the dragons are here.
Yes. I
They're here.
wanted to
That's
ask you, because you will be the best person to ask this question about rocking chair. This rocking chair was made by my grandfather. So they rocked my father when he was a baby.
Mhm.
And it's the more uncomfortable rocking chair that you can imagine. Obviously, my grandfather died, my dad died, and so forth, and I inherited the chair. So, and we were putting it in different rooms, just collecting dust, because no one wants to sit down in that chair, because it is a very uncomfortable rocking chair. I don't even know how they rocked my dad baby in that chair. It was horrible. But it's pretty. At the same time, it's horrible to sit down, but it is pretty to look at. And what do you do with that kind of? And the energy is fine, because it is
You
a
don't need to keep it.
loved ones. Yeah, but you're at the same time, how you get rid of it when you have so much history of the makers and the people that use it.
Okay, so then I'm going to swing it back to you. Are you keeping it because of the history or
Yeah,
because you love it in your room?
I keep it because of the history of the maker and who rock in there. I love my grandfather and my dad, and that's why I keep in it. But oh my God,
You're emotionally attached to it, but you don't need to keep it. You will absolutely know when it's supposed to leave. The, your grandfather doesn't need you to keep it. He loves you keeping the memory of it and having the emotion of it. He doesn't need you to keep the actual chair.
because I bet many our viewers have furniture like that in their home.
Mhm.
It's just because it was grandmother or my mother or whatever it is, and we keep it.
Mhm. But they so this is what I always get from the people who have passed on is you're trying to keep the thing rather than the memory. It's important to keep the memory and the love back in the heart
Yeah,
rather than the thing in your head,
yeah, I can see that.
right? And you might find a woodworker or somebody that thinks it's the best chair ever. They just have to put a cushion on it or they just got to put a something and they'll be like so grateful. And they'll honor your grandfather and the 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 woodworking he did with it. And you'll be able to hold the memory of I've now shared it with somebody else to love it as much as I do.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, you'll know. Someone will knock, like whether it's a phone call, whether we're looking like, and maybe even think of the theater arts places, right? Like that do plays and are always looking for old history of stuff. Maybe you could donate it to them. And then it's being used in a purpose and bringing more joy and love and it's well made. So they won't have to worry about any of the actors falling.
I have a question. We were talking before about antiques.
Hmm.
Remember what you were expressing? Because I know many people. I am one of those that I love antiques.
Antiques are beautiful. Just make sure you clear them before you bring them home.
That's what I was going.
And so this, like, I'm glad you brought this up because even like I know a lot of people are doing consignment for clothing and stuff, right? And I even caught myself. I'm like, it was kind of cold one day, and I thought, oh, I'll just put on these tights. It's not a big deal. Throw on an old t-shirt, right? I'm in the house. I'm not. I'm doing cleaning and stuff. It threw me through an emotional ringer. It wasn't until the next day that I was like, what was up with yesterday? Like I was looking for food. I was looking, and I'm like, I was feeling so emotional that I had to binge eat. No, like I didn't binge eat, but I was like, but I had that emotion. And it was old clothes that I used to wear when I was a lot heavier. They used to be tights and now they just fit as pants. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wear these. My emotions are tied to that person that binged eat.
Yeah.
They have now come out of my closet and are not going to go back in. And so it's just like antiques. Whatever was going on in the house of where that antique was, don't bring it into your house until you clear it, or else you're going to pick up all the energy, right? Like, say it's a side table beside a person who is an alcoholic. That
Mhm.
drink was always on that table. You're going to want to start drinking.
Yeah. Unless you clean it before.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you about the program that you have, Walking You Home.
Hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I bet many people are very, very interested in this talk.
Well, this is my latest brainchild, and I'm really excited for it. And basically, it is a personal journey for the individual that I hold the space in love, no judgment, just absolutely in love, helping you see the light to come home to you. And so um it is a commitment, right? Because you need to be ready for it. Like the work I do isn't like, oh, let's come talk for a bit and then go home, right? Um so it's 3 months long, right? You have my undivided attention. You'll like in between the sessions, there'll probably be homework. There'll be reflecting time. So you come back to the next session with more questions and more like, let's dig deeper. Um, and you can text me or call me in between the sessions if for quick questions, right? The thing is, the people that um, look for it are the ones that are basically on their last resort, and I wish I could catch them before they're at their last resort, is they've gone to healers, they've gone to psychiatrists, they're they're done. How do I help them? Because I walk you home with kindness and love and light. And every single person's different. So whatever your issues are that you're coming to me, like it's like, for instance, I have one client who has lots of medical stuff, right? But in saying that, I know through this program, all that medical stuff is going to disappear because it's all emotions that are caught layer after layer after layer after layer. So it's not for the faint of heart. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not for the faint of heart. But if you truly want to move forward with your life and shine like you can shine like nobody else, then I welcome you. Let's have that conversation.
So basically, this program, it is a coaching.
It's a
What?
it's a it's a mentorship, it's a mentorship coaching, and it is at whatever you bring forward, we will work on. It's like you're painting. You have a canvas. I don't know what you're coming with. I want to use blue, pink, and orange. Great. So we're going to start working with that blue, pink, and orange. And as we work through the some of the traumas and some of the like the conditionings, the belief systems, the untruths of you think you are, and you'll say, that orange doesn't make sense. And I go, oh, well, what color does make sense? I think yellow. Well, let's try it on. And we'll try it on. We'll play with it. We'll play with it. Oh, can I add in a dash of red? Let's try it on. And we're going to go through all those emotions of layers and layers and layers, right? Like, for instance, I had a client who I was working on her house, and there's a part in the house in her marital home, right? That there's some energy that was stuck in the southeast corner of the living room. And I'm like, what happened to you when you were 3? And she starts laughing. What? I don't know. And then she goes, let me see if mom's around and I'll phone her. So she phoned her mom, and her mom told her what happened, right? And all of a sudden I go, that's it. The energy in the marital house moved and her body shifted. And she was like, what? And I go, I don't make the energy. The energy is what it is. 2 weeks later, she called me and she says, you know, I have no hip pain. And I said, you had hip pain? I didn't know I did. Now that I don't have it, I've had it my whole life. So that little incident at 3 years old that her mom said was no big deal gave her hip pain for over 50 years. And so I like where I go with people, I don't know. It depends on what you're coming up with. But I'm telling you, if you want lasting change and you want to for sure get rid of the past that's holding you back, get rid of the backpacks and the baggage that you keep bringing into everything, you'll want to come on the journey with me.
So you work in the level of their home and with the emotional part of the client.
Of the body. I work on all levels. I work spiritual, mental, physical, and
But in the physical, it is in their home and with them.
well, it's even their physical, like physical weight. Like, why are you holding the weight that you don't need to?
Yeah.
Right? It's like it shows up in so many ways. Right? It's like what is the basic fundamentals has what has kept you from moving forward. Right? It's just like, I mean, you know, money is never about money. It's about the emotions that we put to it. And
Yeah.
right now, I'm kind of trying to figure out energetically what's happening in the world because cancers and other diseases are skyrocketing like no other time. And it's like, why?
That's anger issues, resentment, and hate. That is cancer.
Yeah.
I believe that all the sickness are psychosomatic because that's how I heal myself from lupus area fibromyalgia. That is a separate issue than cancer. But
Well, but is it?
well,
Like I remember being at a doctor within my own self, and I said, okay, everyone keeps on talking about fibromyalgia, and he says, do you want the truth? And I go, yeah. And he says, that's a term doctors came up with because we have no idea what's wrong with you.
well, it's one of the symptoms of lupus that I had. And one of the things with lupus, it is defending yourself. It attacks your own heart, lungs, liver, whatever it is, different organs, but defending you. So basically, you defending yourself, you're killing yourself. But where I started
Interesting.
searching in, there's many books about it. You can find it with Liz Hayes. There's tons
Hmm.
of books.
Oh yeah.
When I discovered about lupus, it was the rejecting of life. So I started observing that I was very depressed when I got sick. So I have to follow in love with life again so I can get rid of the lupus. So it is different than cancer, you
Yeah.
see? And every single sickness is different. It depends on what we're holding into our body that create illness. So
Yeah.
And yes, we can say that it is being a lot of resentment for many reasons in this big change that the world is going. So there's more traumas, there's more, or at least more aware traumas now in this big change that we are doing as humanity.
Well, and we haven't had the right people um helping us either.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that we are coming back to ourselves like we've never come back to ourselves before. And I am happy when people go, "Well, I'm not going to believe that because you just said that." I go, "Awesome.
Yeah.
Challenge it. I want you to challenge it because my truth is not your truth. There is a universal truth, a universal union of the higher power of truth, but we have 100 million ways to come to it,
Mhm.
right? Eventually, we'll all be in the euphoric truth, hopefully. That's my goal, right? And whoever wants to join, let's join and in this amazement of we're coming through some pretty dark times in the last 100 years or so, but we can also move into the brightest, most caring, loving, compassionate, beautiful times that we've ever seen. And
Yeah.
that's where I want to help people get.
We're going into a big change, and
We're in it.
we are.
We'll full full um yeah, we'll fully in it.
You mentioned something about money,
Mhm.
that people are having issues with the money, and this put me to thinking two things. One, in the feng shui, is in the left side corner of the house from the entrance. That's the money area. The and also I have, well, like I have told a lot of my students, it's like I don't care if you do 100 affirmations. I am rich, I have money, I'm wealthy. If you don't believe that you deserve it, it doesn't matter how many affirmations you do. It's not going
Well,
to work.
and it's interesting because that's part of the journey home is affirmations only work if they're being said from the truth and you're actually in the field, that quantum field of knowing it is the truth.
Yes, yes. But if you, there is a part of you that you don't feel that you're worthy or that you deserve it.
Well, I think worthiness has been the catalyst of the entire world. In
Yes,
some way, some form, I don't care if you're rich, poor, got food, don't got food, like across the board, worthiness has been the catalyst for maybe our generation, a few generations,
yes, I agree. I agree.
right?
Because
Because
we're
it's
going
like
about
you
not having money and no one can have money, and we hear all this programming that we accepted as our own reality.
I know, but you look at the Generation X's, they don't understand the older generations of like, why are you so worried?
It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter that part because I come from Mexico. That's where I was raised.
I know, but I'm saying the younger generations, they don't understand why we worry about money,
Yes, I agree.
right? Like the older generations, like our parents, right? They worried about money because they were born in the depression, right? Then we came along and it's like, well, we worry about money because they worried about money. And then the next generation, the younger generations are like, they don't have that baggage. They have other baggages. They have anxieties and craziness because of social media, but they don't have the money baggage.
Yes,
And it's fascinating to watch,
yes,
right? And then it's also fascinating and frustrating in the same sense of, okay, so I feel like I'm in the generation caught between the two. Like we worry about money, but I know there's abundance, but we're not seeing the abundance that this younger generation is just living in. So it's like we're in that pivotal balancing of what is our truth. And my truth is there's abundance for all. It's for us to wake up and see it.
do you have a tip for our viewers about the money part? Because I know everybody has, the majority of the people have that issue. So do you have a tip for them?
Well, it's how do I word this? It's feeling into the truest essence of you, whether you believe in God or not. There is a higher power, as my friend has nicknamed Gus, which I think is quite funny. So whether it's God or Gus or whoever, is believing and staying really steeped in that knowing that everything that God has created, He's created for me and for you. And that all the riches in the world are here for the taking. It's for us to step up into that light and the love that has been set for us and let go of the separation, of the hurt, the lack, the wanting, and know that it is all for the highest good. And to truly embrace this new world that we're in of the Aquarian age, right? Because we've never gone over to another sign in the zodiac. And the Aquarian age is all about compassion and love and kindness and bounty. And it's here for us all. And I like, I want to share that light. I want to share that blessing to all, that it's here for us all. And if you join one of us or don't join us, you'll find your growth, your path. And just know that, you know, we're all children of God, and He only wants the best for His children.
That is
And
beautiful.
that's not the church God. That is universal God.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the Walking You Home program, it is a one-on-one or is a group?
No, it's one on one. I'm starting with one on one because this energy is so different to what it was even 3 months ago that I really have been shown that um, whoever's coming into the program, the time frame is wanting that singular focus and that container for them because no one has ever held them before.
Okay,
They want that security that whatever is said, it's not judged. It's not like they need that container so they can come in so wounded and broken and find their wings again.
that is important.
Yeah.
That is important. Thank you so much for your work. What are you doing? Because right now, I heard it a long time ago. Healers, coaches are gonna be needed in that time, and I thought, well, why we need so many?
Oh,
And
we don't have half as many as we need.
now I can see that. And that time when I heard that, I I I felt that was ridiculous. But now I can see that is so we are so needed right now in this time because
Well,
we cannot have enough time to help everybody that we want to help.
yeah.
So it is important all our work that we do.
And I'll just add this, that my guides were saying the other day, like I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get something done. I'm like, and they said, enjoy your freedom to do nothing. It's coming to an end. And I'm like,
Yeah,
huh? And I'm like, it's coming to an okay. And and you, by you saying what you just said, I was like, oh, it's coming to an end.
I've been feeling it lately. I've been feeling it like
Oh my, well, and then like, I mean, I was kind of getting on myself about, well, everyone's saying they want to join, and I'm like, well, then join. And they put off, and I'm like, and then I had August happen. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad. I had to hold my own container through August and, have my time of just being. And so, yeah, I'm recharged. I'm ready. I'm
yeah.
ready for anyone
Feels like
who decides to join me.
September is it feels like it's gonna be busy for the whole world.
Yeah.
It feels like let's get ready for all the coaches, healers,
Yeah.
energy workers in any shape or form. We
Yeah.
are gonna be in a lot of work.
Yeah.
That
And
yeah,
so I'd also say to anyone who's listening is, if you're unsure to work with me or not to work with me, just book a one-on-one. It's free. It's like, let's just have that conversation and see where the conversation goes. And, you know, um, I would rather have the fit for both of us than to struggle, because then it's not worth it for either of us.
yes, that
Yeah.
is.
So,
It's been my pleasure, Adele, to have you in Soul Talk. Thank you so much for this interesting conversation.
well, thank you for having me. It's been wonderful.
The information of Adele is going to be in the link of this podcast. So like that, you can get a hold on her. You can book an appointment with Adele. Thank you so much.
Thank you.